been about 3 years ago that I met a man. He was 16 years old and he completely changed my life. His name is Tyler Robinson.
Tyler loved people. He'd spend hours and hours talking to his friends. He's always quick to listen and help his friends.
He was warm, he was friendly, he was a regular teenager.
He'd lose his cell phone like once a month, and I'd have to listen to my parents deal with that. And he was a terrible driver.
He was trying to negotiate his way out of the driveway because there were a lot of cars. And finally he got to the end of the driveway and he goes, "Woohoo, we made it." And all of a sudden, bang, he runs into the garbage cans.
He was funny. He had a sense of humor. And I would keep telling him, "You cannot wear slippers to high school," but he wore slippers to high school. He always had a big smile. It was stage 4 rhabdomyosarcoma, which is a very rapid moving childhood cancer. Tyler accepted it at first. He said he was okay with it at first, but it seemed surreal to him. But then I remember very clearly going to the doctor and him explaining to Tyler everything that he would be facing, which was 20 rounds of chemotherapy over a year period and missing his whole junior year of high school and some of his senior year. And it all seemed overwhelming to us. And we drove home together in the car and he didn't say a word and we both just started to cry when we got home. It's the only time I saw Tyler cry.
I think of the times when he was having chemotherapy, sometimes when he was the most ill. And Ty would go to this quiet place. He'd put his earphones on and listen to music. And his favorite band was Imagine Dragons, which was absolutely inspirational to him. And that was really important in his life.
For some reason, one of their songs that we loved had this line in it that just connected him and I. That line was, "The road to heaven runs through miles of clouded hell." And I remember telling him when it first came on, I'm like, "Tyler, that's it. That is exactly what I feel. Like sometimes in life you have to go through the bad stuff to get to the good." So when anything difficult came up, it was just easy to say, "Hey Ty, it's the road to heaven, man." So a few months after Tyler was diagnosed with cancer, I remember sitting down with one of my best friends and we were thinking to each other, how cool would it be if we could get Imagine Dragons to dedicate the song "It's Time" to Tyler at their show coming up this weekend. We came up with the idea that we'd Facebook message these guys, and I personally didn't think it would work.
We were playing a show in Utah. I happened to check my messages, and it was a message explaining to me how this brother, Jesse, was coming to our show that night. He was bringing his younger brother, Tyler. Kind of told me the story of Tyler, how he had been diagnosed with cancer, how he was fighting it, and how he was a big fan of the band. And he didn't say anything like pushy, he wasn't asking for anything. He just said, "Hey, I just want to make you aware of this. We're coming to the show tonight." And so before the song started, I said, "You know, this song is for a young man in the audience tonight. His name is Tyler."
There is someone out in the crowd tonight, and his name is Tyler Robinson. And I want to say that Tyler, I just heard his story for just tonight, and I want to say that it very much inspired me and meant a lot to me, meant a great deal to me as a young man who's fighting cancer. And he asked us to play a song for him tonight, and this song is for Tyler, from the bottom of our hearts, Tyler.
And we started the song, and I remember seeing in the back of the venue this small, smiling kid who just was kind of moving up, and I thought, okay, this must be Tyler. From the second I saw him, I was just, I can't, it's like when someone walks in the room and it's just positivity just fills the room. He just had that kind of spirit about him.
As a band, we've
been able to do a lot of really awesome things. We played the Grammys, you know, we played in front of the Beatles. But I think that moment, playing that show in that little tiny club, this dingy club in Utah, I think that's still my favorite moment on stage. Because it was about selflessness. It wasn't about us or the fans, it was just about everyone coming together in that little club, and that was really special for us.
I can honestly say from that moment I have been changed. I have changed my way of thinking in a lot of ways. Just Tyler not even meaning to teach a lesson to those people. He was just there to enjoy the music, but his attitude towards life was so inspiring and consuming. We finished the show, and I was able to speak with him and his brother afterward. I got Tyler's number, we exchanged numbers. I told him I wanted to keep in touch with him. The first text I got from him was like, I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was like, I don't want to bother you. I'm not going to use this number all the time to bother you. I'm like, dude, it's totally fine, man. So we texted back here and there.
It was an exciting time for Tyler to see him have that connection with a band and see them really care about him and care about how he was doing and always asking about his treatments.
Things went very, very well with Tyler's treatments, and he was actually declared cancer-free in November. He then went back to high school and is excited about moving ahead with his life. One evening, Tyler went into the restroom and began throwing up, and he went into a full seizure. We rushed him to the hospital and learned that night that cancer had returned and had gone into his brain. He did slip into a coma, and he passed away several days later.
We had a show coming up, and I had texted Ty a little bit here and there throughout the time. I had someone contact me and inform me that Tyler had passed, that it had just kind of come back overnight. It was that moment that I felt that this was not the end of Tyler. This was, his life would continue, his legacy would continue. It needed to continue. People needed to hear his story. People needed to be inspired by him the same way that we were inspired by him.
The one positive in that whole experience for me was getting a phone call from Dan Reynolds the night my brother passed away. And he was extending his condolences to me and to my family, and he asked if our family would be willing to team up with the band to start a foundation in my brother's name. And we felt honored to go forward with it.
When Tyler was first diagnosed with cancer, I drove him to Primary Children's Hospital, and as we were driving there was a marquee that had the saying, in the midst of difficulties lies opportunities. And I remember thinking at the time that that would be significant in my life. And so after Tyler's passing, that has become very significant because we've had some incredible opportunities to help other people in Tyler's name.
The mission of the foundation is essentially to help those families that have childhood cancer take care of the extra costs associated with that, extra travel costs. There's moms that have to quit their jobs. There's babysitting. There's just a lot of people that are out there that are just in a tremendous amount of need.
The thing that makes us truly unique is the fact that we put so much attention to the actual recipient of the money. We choose a volunteer financial planner, and we team them up with each family so that these families can focus less on their financial needs, knowing that it's being taken care of by a professional, and allow them to focus more on their family.
When their children are literally fighting for their lives, they don't have to worry about the financial part of the battle.
They can just be there for their children.
Absolutely.